Okay. I hear some music. Am I the only one hearing the music?
I don't hear it.
I don't hear it either.
Okay. Okay.
It's a party wherever Dominique goes, so she always
Yeah.
hears.
It must be on my end. Oh, I know what it is. Okay. Okay.
All right. So I am Andrea Horn. I am the Supplier Diversity Manager at SAS. And I'm also the secretary of the Piedmont Triad Ring. And there's several people on here that just have phone numbers. So I will open that up after we go through the other introductions. So Abigail, can you have a little bit of voice to introduce yourself?
I do. Hi, I'm Abigail Lind. I'm representing Stratagon. We have offices in High Point and Charlotte. We are a digital marketing agency.
Thank you. Avery?
Hi, I'm Avery Twine Love. I'm with SAS Institute, and I am a senior procurement analyst.
Brahani?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Brahani Robinson, Chief of Staff with Hazel Seibert Consulting in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Thank you. Bryan?
Hey everybody, I'm Bryan Wiggins, Supplier Diversity Lead for Cisco, and I'm going to let my partner in crime, she's one of the dial-in, Ronnette Anderson was having trouble getting in. She's going to introduce herself.
Hello everybody, I'm working hard trying to get in. I'm Ronnette Anderson here with Cisco, working with Bryan in the Supplier Diversity team.
Thank you. Chef Maria?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Chef Maria, pastry chef and owner of Beyond Decadence Incorporated, and I'm excited to be here.
Debbie?
Hey, good morning, everyone. Excited to be here. Welcome to the Ring meeting. I am Debbie Hillary Pettigrew. I am CVMSDC event planner and assistant to Dominique Milton. Welcome, everyone.
Dominique?
Dominique Milton, President and CEO of CVMSDC. Welcome, everyone. And Bryan, thank you for speaking today.
Herman?
Morning, everyone. Herman Bruno with Core Partners. I'm based out of Huntersville, Charlotte Market, and we do recruiting for IT and engineering customers. Thank you.
Derek?
Yeah, hey, my name is Derek Jackson. I'm with RJ Reynolds Tobacco, and so I'm a senior purchasing manager. Also have accountability for supplier diversity, and I'm also the Triad Ring corporate chair as well.
Jonathan?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jonathan Wilkins. I'm the program manager for supply diversity at Lenovo. I also sit as the corporate chair for the Piedmont Ring, and soon to be giving over the reins to Andrea.
Thanks, Jonathan.
And we'll be moving on to other things. Thank you.
See, Joyce Williams?
Yes, good morning. I'm Joyce Williams. I'm with Blue Dove Promotions. I'm the CEO and owner, and we do promotional products. Thank you.
Julie Powers.
Good morning. I'm Julie Powers, Market Director with APC in Raleigh. APC provides workforce solutions and technical project solutions across the U.S. Related to IT, professional, and engineering projects.
Ken?
Hi, I'm Ken Pulliam. I'm with Binders Inc. out of Charlotte, North Carolina. And we manufacture custom office supplies, and we are also a reseller of branded promotional products as well as commercial and industrial supplies.
Thank you. Larry Fairley?
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Larry Fairley. I'm the founder and CEO of Marketing Resource Solutions, MRS. We're a Black-owned full-service ad agency that specializes in the planning and execution of multicultural and diversity-related marketing initiatives. I am also the MBIC chair for the Triad. We have a major announcement. We just entered into a multi-year agreement with Atrium Health to provide branded apparel to them. So you'll be hearing more about that on the newswire come soon.
That's great news. Larry Jones.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Larry Jones. I am the Corporate Services Director with CVMSDC, and welcome and great to see everyone. Thank you.
Thanks. Pam Athen.
Hi, my name is Pam Athen. I'm from Universal Printing, and I'm the account executive for printing and marketing.
Thank you, Pam. John Picola.
Good morning, everyone. My name is John Picola. I manage the purchasing department here at First Citizens Bank in Raleigh.
Tamika Little.
Good morning. I am Tamika Little with IBM. I am the Supplier Diversity Program Manager for the Americas.
Thank you. Troy.
Good morning. I'm Troy Roberts, President and CEO of Alliance of Professionals and Consultants, APC, and Julie gave us an intro. I'm also your MBEIC Chair for the Piedmont region.
Annette Taylor.
Good morning, everyone. I am getting my voice back, but it's great to be here. I'm with the North Carolina Education Lottery, and I'm a corporate sponsor, corporate partner.
Thank you.
Great to be here.
And I'll give people a chance that are on the phone to introduce themselves, or if I missed anyone, please go ahead.
Hi, I'd like to speak. My name is Tom Matthew. I am the president of a firm called RAL Consulting. We're based in Cary, North Carolina, and we specialize in IT project and program management, process improvement and automation, and resource staffing.
And hi, this is John with Big Star Training in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and we specialize in helping individuals, small and medium-sized companies address sexual harassment and sexual assault.
Okay. There's not anyone else. We're going to hand it over to Dominique now, and we'll have time towards the end of the meeting to do additional introductions if people would like to talk a little bit more about their company, or if someone joined a little later. So Dominique, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Andrea.
Yes,
Larry.
Sorry. Cynthia Barnes just joined us. If we would allow her to introduce herself.
Cynthia.
Cynthia, you're on mute.
Yeah, I got two things going on, so I was trying to shut off the volume on the other, excuse me, on my desktop, because I'm actually doing a conference and trying to chime in so I can at least hear the session. But I'm Cynthia Barnes. I'm the MWBE Director for Guilford County.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. Well, I am so excited. I'm really pleased with the turnout here today. You have 28 folks on the call today, and we are excited about what my team has put together for you. We are working diligently to deliver BOC 21 to you. The theme is a growth mindset, growing from millions to billions, how you as MBEs can increase your sales and how corporations can increase their spend. And so we have a powerful lineup of speakers and workshops for you, as well as matchmaking. Today truly is the last day, today and tomorrow, to make sure that you get your registration. And if there's anyone on this call that is not registered, I encourage you to register today, because right now Larry's behind the scenes working on matchmaking. He's going to talk about that. And Debbie's getting all the gift boxes mailed out. And so we want you to be within that mailing. There's 5 different ways in which you can get involved. You can still sponsor if you want to. I appreciate everyone everyone on the call has stepped up to sponsor. You can donate an auction item. There's a contest going on between the rings, and you all won the last contest, so you have a dinner or happy hour or lunch with me once we get back to normal or somewhat normal. So I'm looking forward to coming up and spending some time with both rings to have that meal. But you can win again, so you can donate auction items. You can make dollar contributions. We are raising $10,000 for 2 MBE scholarships with those donations. Register, register, register. I can't stress that enough. We still have space for you to get one of those gift boxes, which is worth $50. Matchmaking is going on. Larry is doing all these detailed matches with the corporations and really fine-tuning the MBEs that they want to see and putting them on the schedule. And so if you register early, you can get up to 8 matches. There's 15 minutes each, and then follow us on social media. So that is the main message I want to get across today. I'm going to turn it to Larry real quick to see if Larry has any updates, and then to Debbie. I think those are the two that are on from my team. So if we can have Larry give an update very quickly, and then go over to Debbie to reemphasize what I've said. Thank you so much, and thank you for the time to speak up front. I will have to drop off, so if there are any questions, please get them to my team. Thank you. Larry?
Sure. Thank you very much, Dominique. First of all, thank you, everyone. Welcome to this morning's meeting. I'm really busy, like Dominique said, with the matchmaking event. Like always, trying to pair MBEs with corporate partners, looking for potential opportunities, compiling a list and trying to get names. But a caveat to this right here: when we start selecting names for matchmaking to present to corporate partners, if you are not registered, you're already out of the game, because if you're not registered, you can't matchmake because it's part of the process right there. And that's a challenge even with corporate partners. When I communicate with them, the first question is, "Hey, Larry, these are my needs," and then they'll ask me, "Seriously, can you give me a list of those that are registered?" And I don't do that because some people are still kind of registering in, and I don't want you to miss out on the opportunity. Not trying to overhype it too much, but some corporate partners have even specified, "Hey, we're trying to do this multi-million-dollar project, and this is what we're looking for," depending upon what that is. So this is pretty serious, and we have a lot of partners that kind of stepped up to the plate. I don't have an actual. I won't give you names, but when I contact you, if you're contacted, I would say, you have been selected for matchmaking with this company or corporation. So I'm to let you know that right there, very deliberate in that right there. The next thing is, okay, are you registered, and kind of go from there. So please, if you haven't done so, please get registered. And any other people you've been speaking with, kind of the same thing too. The next piece I'm working on is the booklet, the program booklet. You've seen it before, that annual booklet we kind of send out, annual report per se. So we're trying to make sure that is current, updated, and those kind of things too. But the main thing is, right now, my focus between now and the next couple of weeks, whatever, is getting this matchmaking thing underway. It's a major evolution, but very well worth it, and hopefully that can lead to a lot of good opportunity for you all out there. So, any questions for me, concerns? Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. And we have 150 new corporations nationally that have signed up from NMSDC, and we're working diligently to make sure those companies are represented if they're in our footprint. So we have some new companies that are going to be in the matchmaking table. Thank you so much, Larry. Debbie, any updates?
Thank you, Dominique. Not any real updates. If you've been following the newsletter, then you know that we've got some fun things. In addition to all of the fantastic learnings and content that we have from our panels, as well as our workshop speakers, we also have a creative live artist who is going to be the feature for our live auction. So look in your emails soon so that you'll find information on how to register to participate and bid in the live auction. This is a commissioned piece just for CBMSDC, and we're very excited to present this young artist to you. Then some more fun things is at the end of day one, we've got a live stream concert with a very popular jazz artist out of the Charlotte area, Buff Dillard. So we hope that you will join us for the entire conference, but that will conclude day one. And on day 2, we've just signed on with Harlem Beer Distributing, who is an MBE in the North Carolina area. And they are going to do a virtual tasting, wine and beer 101, so to speak. So you'll have an opportunity to go to your local retailer and pick up your beverage of choice and do a virtual tasting with us to conclude day 2. In addition, we also have our new e-commerce mall for our MBEs. So if you are a certified MBE, you can get an e-commerce space in our mall area for BOC, and it's e-commerce real-time transaction, so buy and sell. And I am happy to say once again that Chef Maria was the first one to sign up for the mall. So we will all see you at BOC 2021. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Debbie. And then because Chef Maria was the first one to sign up, she has a full page spread in our annual report. So there are benefits to being early. I did drop in the chat the boc.cvmsdc.org where you can donate to the silent auction. You can register and you can see the agenda and the speakers. So please, please, please register. And we look forward to seeing you at 1:15 p.m. on August the 2nd. We start at 1:15 p.m. on August the 2nd. Thank you so much. Back to you, Andrea.
Thanks so much, Dominique, Larry, and Debbie. All right, Bryan and Ronnette, I'm going to turn it over to you guys. And you're on mute.
I'm going to see if I can share in Microsoft Teams. Everybody see this?
Yes, we can see it.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks, Andrea, and thanks everybody for letting us present to you today and talk a little bit about what's going on at Cisco's supplier diversity. One of the things probably that's happened since we've been at CVMSDC Ring meeting has been we're actually rolling up under a team now called Responsible Procurement. So we've continually expanded our efforts, and we started the pillar in 2016. It was exclusively a supplier diversity pillar where we started to dabble in contingent workforce diversity. But now, you know, my boss, Denise Lombard, or our boss, Denise Lombard, has pretty extensive ownership of supplier diversity, contingent workforce diversity, corporate social responsibility, and sustainability. So we've been able to sort of get some momentum with that, and sort of, try while we're trying to drive a lot of supplier diversity activity, we're also doing it within the context of sort of a greater, a bigger view of what Cisco is trying to do, like many of our customers and many of our peer companies. So we want to talk to you today a little bit about three things. First, our social justice actions, which I think you probably have seen out, hopefully out in the media some, to talk about our supplier diversity program, and then our sponsorship programs, which is probably the piece that I'm the most proud of as far as what we've been able to do with some of our key diverse suppliers. So Cisco, coming out of the push for more social justice last summer, Cisco responded with 12 social justice actions that sort of span across different areas of Cisco and different ways that we thought we could that we could be a change agent, that we could support change, and that we could partner with like-minded companies and to do good. But also do good for good. That's good business, and I think that's been a lot of Cisco's. Is that what we're doing in diversity is also good for business, and that we don't want to forget that. So number 7 is the social justice action that Ronnette and I are most involved in working on, and it really has 4 components to it. First and foremost, and the one that I focus on the most is the supplier diversity piece, making sure that all of our bids are captured, first of all, and that's sort of an internal procurement issue, but making sure that those captured bids include at least one qualified diverse supplier. And one of the reasons that we say qualified is that if we can't locate, a supplier, a diverse supplier that is qualified, then we don't, then at least that has been asked. At least there's a structural requirement that people ask and look and try to make sure that we're including diverse suppliers in all of our in all of our competitive bidding. We typically, at least it's pretty weighted heavily toward contingent labor and staffing opportunities, because structurally those are the competitive bids that procurement more centrally owns. So we do pretty well in what we capture, and I'll show you a couple of numbers on that in a little bit. Our corporate objective is to double our diversity spend by 2023 by percentage. So we hover as a company around 5%, 5 to 6% since we've had the program. So we're really making an effort to push that out to 10%. And we did do it based on percentage and not on raw dollars, because we didn't want budgetary spends to sort of either make it harder or make it easier without us actually, pushing across the board to drive everyone to up their supplier diversity spend. Contingent workforce diversity is the second piece, and I think one of the things that our VP, our Chief Procurement Officer, Alex Lopez, said is when these social justice actions came down, one of the things that we took to heart was that we didn't have to create a program. We had a good program, and what this has done is allowed us to set some higher goals, set some measurable goals, and have the weight of sort of a mandate, if you will. We're very careful with that word at Cisco, because it's the kind of environment where you kind of have to get 20 people to agree to do anything. So mandates are not common. And so we wield it very carefully, but we do believe that we have a corporate target. And one of the reasons that we think we will be successful is having that focus, both from a procurement category perspective, which I think we largely have, but also from across the business units, that business units will set targets and be held accountable for that. We're also, because we own we own responsibility for the contingent workforce. We have been doing this reporting for probably, I think we're coming up on our 5th year, that we've sort of been running a little bit under the radar with this, but now after probably year 3, started really reporting out to the suppliers, here's where you stand versus Cisco's average, here's where you stand versus the average of your peers, and recognize suppliers for their contingent workforce diversity. Also in that same sort of contingent workforce areas, if there's any discrimination training that is going to be required for Cisco employees, that our people, process, and purpose, the newest branding on HR, is going to provide that training to employees. We're going to make that training available and measurable with our preferred suppliers, with our contingent resources, because it's an ecosystem. And I think a lot of companies where you have a large contingent workforce, you need, we're all people, and we all should be held to that, sort of anti-discrimination understanding and standard. I think the last one, and this is the piece and why I wanted to talk about the sponsorship program a bit, is we focused our executive sponsorship program this time around. This is our 5th class. We've done 2 in the U.S. previously. We've completed 1 in the UK. And we just kicked off 1 in India. So this is our 5th class, and we focused exclusively on African American and Black-owned businesses. I was challenged on that when I put it out there, saying, why are you limiting it to that ownership this cycle? And I said, we've graduated 40 suppliers through our sponsorship program. 1 was African American owned, and that was dead silent. So nobody argued with me after that. So I think that when we kind of look at our overall programs, we are in 3 countries now, so I don't know that I would call us global, but I would call us multinational. When we look at the screen, it's probably, almost 80% of Cisco's global spend is in these 3 geographies. But we're still looking at, where we want to continually expand, where we want to make sure that we are taking somewhat credit for the diverse spend that we're doing in other countries. But we also want to be able to to offer some level of sponsorship, to offer some level of engagement, not just counting dollars and saying we have a program there. We believe that having sponsorship programs is part of how we have a legitimate program. We've been hovering, I think our last quarter measurement, and I think it vets out from this 95% US, 91% UK, and 100% in India. It does average out to about 96%. So we're doing relatively well, but our aspiration is all of them. We had like I said, we had 40 suppliers that graduated from our sponsorship program. 36 were in the US and 4 were in the UK. Where I've been most encouraged, and I guess I would say, I know this is a local group, but where I've been most impressed at our ability to make tangible, substantial increases in diversity spend actually has been in our global programs, and particularly in India. And that was probably a surprise to me. That was a surprise to me at the time. But you know, both India and the UK were focused solely on women-owned businesses. But it's been pretty astronomical, the amount of percentage spend increase. And we were starting in India with a very low number, and part of it was through supplier discovery, but a lot of it has been being able to drive spend to diverse suppliers. In the UK, the primary growth of the spend is in, you know, suppliers that we were able to put in play in those environments. So we want to keep, I think, FY19. So that would be the fall of 2018 was when we started our programs both in India and the UK. So we're probably due to try to do a little bit more expansion. Our sponsorship program, and I will say this, it is probably the thing that we do that I'm the most proud of, and not just what we've been able to do with it, but how we've sort of grown it. When we started the program, we actually openly admitted to the group, and we went solely by spend, right? We looked totally at our top spend diverse suppliers, and kind of went through and said, we want to pair you with a Cisco executive. We want to sort of, you know, offer some speakers and maybe some resources and this sort of thing. And what was interesting was we were very transparent in saying, we've never run a sponsorship program before, so we need your involvement and we need your feedback. And I think we learned a lot in that first session. It was a 18-month, you know, 18-month has become our sweet spot. We felt like we could pull it into 12. But when we tried to do that, the pandemic hit, and it actually worked out better to sort of extend it to 18 months for those, so for both of those groups of both the UK and US program. We were able to sort of do that together. So we match them with the supplier with the Cisco executive. When Ronnette and I are doing that, we're kind of looking at, you know, we're looking at where the sponsor sits, where the supplier provides Cisco, and is it, you know, sometimes it's in an area where they could, you know, where it'd be a good place for them to continue their growth. Sometimes it's in an adjacent area, and sometimes it's in an area where it's totally separate from the supplier to give them a sort of a different view of Cisco. So a little bit more, I would say, art than science when we select that. What we added in our second and third classes were the monthly curriculum sessions. So what we found was that this matching of a supplier with an executive is kind of like dating. You know, sometimes it works great, sometimes it works okay, and sometimes they don't click. And so what we started thinking about, and we did surveys after each program. We do a survey and we look at and we see what tweaks we can make to sort of make the program more substantial. And the question was, if they don't have a good connection with with their sponsor, what else do they get out of the program? And that's when we started to add the curriculum sessions. And I think what it did, a couple of things. Number one, it definitely gave some education, sort of, I would say, pulling back the curtain about how things worked at Cisco internally for that group. We don't have we have a bunch of stuff we can talk about. We don't really have a set curriculum. We try to balance it between which is probably with set curriculum I might be doing an oxymoron right there, but at any rate, you know, we have some of the topics are procurement based, so straight, coming straight from the experts in Ronnette and my organization. Some of them are Cisco. We did something on WebEx when the whole, when everybody was starting to go virtual and what could be offered from that platform. We talked about Cisco's social justice actions, to tell them what was going on internally with that. And we brought in some industry speakers as well. And, obviously, our relationship with NMSDC and NMSDC groups like CVM SDC and WRM SDC are also, the types of organizations that we would bring in, particularly when some of the sponsorees may or may not have a third-party certification. We view this as a way to encourage that and sort of almost say, you really need to do this, and we view that as part of supplier development. What we've been able to do through the sponsorship program is several things. I think number one, so our primary measurement of suppliers, particularly in contingent labor type spaces, which is where many of our diverse suppliers are, is what we call SPAR, which is Supplier Performance and Recognition. It's basically a CSAT survey, but we try to target it toward the customers of a supplier and asking them basic questions about pricing, about service, about quality, and then they get the Bryan Wiggins sort of armchair psychiatrist, psychologist telling them what the numbers really mean. But I think what was really great about it is when we did our first measurement, it was just under 4. So that 3.9 was out of 5, which was pretty competitive and maybe even slightly better than our preferred suppliers at the time. Over time, the peak has been about 4.4 on that supplier group, and we're surveying about 40 diverse suppliers when we do it. We typically have seen increased performance by, as you can tell, the whole family of suppliers has increased. When we started the program, only one diverse supplier was technically a preferred supplier at Cisco. Today there's 26. Now that I tend to flash this up when I talk about sponsorship, but I will tell you that what we typically do, the sponsorship program is not a path to becoming a preferred supplier, and that becomes a much more complex conversation. But what we were able to do is we were more able to advocate for particular diverse suppliers that it made sense to enter the conversation of being a preferred supplier at Cisco. 8 of our suppliers have been Supplier Day finalists. So if you do the math, every year we have an award, either the Diversity Award or then the last couple of years it's been the Responsible Procurement Award that we give at Supplier Day. So that's only 4 or 5, right? The diverse suppliers that we would have awarded that as a finalist. So that means 3 other suppliers were actually for other procurement awards. So quality, where they're competing with our big global preferred suppliers. Again, 96%. We think we do pretty well in that, but we want to keep expanding. We want not just the percentage to grow, but the number of competitive bids that are captured to go up. We did find that people find the program valuable. We do try to get them to tell us the truth, like what didn't work as well, because that's the only way we can improve the program. We also see a reduction in risk, and we've seen increases in business from our suppliers. The pandemic year definitely challenged us a bit. We had some great success stories, and we've got 3 of our key sponsors, 3 of our sponsorees that seem to get a lot out of the program, and even I was even able to leverage some of their quotes for our. We had a Cisco employee community article on the program that's actually out now, that highlights some of the things that we've done with the sponsorship program, and also like recruits, Cisco executives to be part of the program. So we'll see, like you can see a couple, Curo Group is here. Telemon, I think, is in Indiana, and Bay One is out in San Jose. So, but we've really, I have to say, I'm proud of where we're going. I'm nervous with the target, with finally having a corporate target, which we've asked for all this time. My running joke has been that I feel like there was a primetime Coyote Roadrunner, the old Warner Brothers cartoon. There was a primetime episode where the coyote actually caught the Roadrunner, and the Roadrunner was 50 feet tall. And he holds up a sign and says, well, now I caught him. What do you want me to do with him? And so now I've got what I wanted. I have the corporate target, and it's, and it both makes me really excited, and it makes me, challenged to make sure that we can do it. So that's what I've got today. Any questions?
Hey, Brian, I have a question. My name is Pam Athen from Universal Printing. How do you become a preferred vendor or a registered vendor? Do you just go on your website?
So that's a fantastic question. So that's two separate things, right? So you first have to be a supplier to Cisco to be considered to be a preferred supplier. And the joke I make about the preferred supplier program is be careful what you wish for, because you say you only hurt the ones you love. Our preferred supplier program is also a volume discount program. So, there are always going to be suppliers that are part of our ecosystem as a niche supplier that don't have enormous spends, that it doesn't really make sense for them to be a preferred supplier, but we want as few barriers for them to be used as possible. For onboarding as a supplier in general, I will tell you it is challenging. We like I said, I think you saw there we have a couple of hundred, we're probably close to 250 between the three geographies of diverse suppliers that we already have, and we definitely we're focused on the diverse suppliers that we already have in our ecosystem. So the biggest thing is you do need to register in our portal. At that point, Ronnette and I will have a conversation with you, but you have to identify something that you do that's a gap between what we have, what we don't already have in our diverse supplier, in our diverse supply base. And if that's the case, and if there's an opportunity, then yes, we would advocate for that. But it actually is quite rare. We don't do a heck of a lot of onboarding. However, I would tell you with the sort of this sort of revamping of the program and the target, we definitely would look at that. I think you have to be able to make sure that your offerings and skills, whatever you offer, matches a need for Cisco, and a need particularly where we don't already have preferred diverse suppliers and diverse suppliers that are preferred in that space, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Great question.
I have a question for you, Brian. What is Cisco doing in the area of team building activities? Are you hosting any virtually? I know that's become a very popular item for most corporations worldwide since the onset of the pandemic. I'm asking specifically because I offer private virtual baking experiences, either via WebEx or Zoom, or on site. And I didn't know if you're doing anything in the team building arena or not.
Well, it was very interesting. I actually think you may be on our page. I think we may have, I'm trying to remember. You're in Durham, right?
No, I'm physically in Huntersville, but I service Charlotte as well.
Okay. So, we had a group of, it was really funny. Last summer, we had a group of interns that right in the midst of that, the social justice actions, we had this group of interns that came up with this idea of, we have these quarterly fun funds, they're called, right? Mm-hmm. And a certain amount per employee that you can spend on an event. And so their idea, quite simply, was creating a channel for, rank and file Cisco managers to be able to have team building events, exactly the type of thing that you're talking about, that can be offered virtually. By the time we were able to do, and we vetted several suppliers, and by the time we were able to get it all in place, the BU that the first the interns were all gone, and I was still running it with one of the interns was part-time, but we had real trouble like driving traffic through it, right? Because we were trying to make sure we had set constraints of, we didn't really want to have to onboard you, right? We didn't want to make it that complex. We wanted companies that that could accept American Express, so that it was easy to transact, that would fall within that. It didn't get legs the way that I wanted it to. I will tell you that our team did leverage like a wellness, a young man, a minority-owned business in California to do like a wellness session with our group. I think it's something we want to kind of look at as we move forward, to kind of give people options of things that they can do and try to drive more traffic into those spaces. Because I think, what happens is there's a big audience that we might talk to. It's a very small portion of that audience that's actually making buying decisions. And so when you're talking about something like as specific as team building, there's a lot of people that do team building, and everybody, all Cisco employees have a corporate Amex card. So we should be able to do that. We like the idea. We haven't been successful at connecting the dots to actually making the transactions go as of yet, besides our own team, because it was not even, we're part of the finance organization, and this came from a different org at Cisco, and it seemed like this great idea that we put a lot of work into, but we didn't necessarily see the benefits. But I think it's still a really good idea.
Okay, maybe I could connect with you offline and see.
I would love it. I would love it. I'd love to dazzle my missus with some crazy cooking skills that I don't usually have.
I can help you be dazzling. Absolutely. Would you drop your email address in the chat? Do you mind?
No, I don't mind at all.
Okay. Dominique's team has gone through the team building. We did a strawberry shortcake class for her leadership team for the council I think it was back in April. So, and we did it virtually via Zoom, and it was an amazing experience. I think they had a really good time and connected. Thank you.
If there's no other questions, thanks for the time, Andrea. I really appreciate it.
So we do have one more question that's in the chat, and it's from Herman. And he says, many times MBEs are encouraged, directed to register in a supplier portal, and they never hear back or don't fit the registration criteria. But we see that they are currently using other similar competitors that were engaged through a different process. Any suggestions, best practices for MBEs that are not having success following the registration portal process?
Herman, that's the toughest question. And one of the things that as Ronnette's onboarded, we've been having so we use Viva Stars as our portal, right? And one of the ongoing conversations I've had with these guys for years is, if you're providing portal registration for multiple companies, why can you not let a supplier, pick 25 common data points where they can register and go, I want to release it to Lenovo, to SAS, to Cisco, like that, and you only enter it one time. Because it was probably like a veteran event maybe 3 years ago where somebody actually said to me, look, I'm a small business. I don't have time to enter into all these portals. And it wasn't complaining. It was like, literally, this is, I can't really do that. I think that, to your question specifically, it's tough. I mean, we make the commitment that if you register in the portal, we will definitely meet with you. We'll definitely have a conversation. I will tell you, most of the time, for me personally, it is in contingent labor. We have so many contingent labor suppliers today, staffing. It's really hard to sort of have a reason to onboard somebody that does what your other diverse suppliers already do. At the end of the day, and this is like, don't quote me on this is being recorded, isn't it? So I'm going to be careful how I say this, because we do not want solicitation of Cisco managers or directors. But what I would tell you is this: you have the support of the supplier diversity team. We're going to look at your risk. We're going to talk to you. We're going to sort of package what your offerings are, and if we have an audience to give that to, we're going to do that. You can have the support of the procurement organization. You can have a category manager who's very passionate about the diversity space. Your best friend at a corporation is somebody with budget that likes you, that wants to spend money with you. And that's Herman, there's not an easy answer to that. I think the best way that you make my job the easiest is you narrow it down what's really, there's a coach of entrepreneurs, Randy Nelson. I don't know if you guys have ever heard him talk, but he talks about defensible differentiators. And so when you're talking with corporates, if you can arm them with what your defensible differentiators are, and let it be 2 or 3 things. They do this, and they do this. Like, don't make it really hard, because I'm not that smart and I can't really articulate your offering, but something that will compel a category manager, that will compel somebody in a business function at Cisco that might have a need in your area, that makes it very clear what it is that you do and why it's different. The Procurement 101, like, listen, I believe in diversity. I believe in what we do, but I'll tell you this: we're still procurement, and adding a supplier is kind of like asking my dad for money when I was in 7th grade. It's not the most fun conversation, because if we don't put limits on it, we end up with way too many suppliers, and we're not effectively leveraging Cisco's. We're not effectively managing the relationship. But at the same time, like I said, your best friend is somebody that really wants to spend money with you. And the best way you can do that is be very articulate, not nearly as wordy as I am, with it's this, and it's this. And understand that the message to fish elsewhere is also a gift, is also a gift.
Hey, Bryan, this is Larry Fairley. Did I hear you correct? You said you do not want suppliers to solicit managers, category managers, or other personnel?
So it's an interest. It is against corporate policy so let's be honest about it, right? The only suppliers that you can really hold your feet to the fire to are those that you're doing business with, right? So what am I going to do? If somebody has a unwelcome solicitation, I think it's typically about, and this is part of what the value of something like a group like this is you start getting contacts within corporates, right, that are interested in the program, that are interested in doing things in that. And if we can arrange a meeting, if we can connect you to somebody, that's great. If you have, we all have networks, and you all have people that and LinkedIn has been, a real gift to people trying to reach out and find somebody that does take your call, that will communicate with you. But yes, it's technically against corporate policy. If you understand, there has to be a complaint, right? It either has to be, there has to be an email, that can be forwarded, or a complaint by a manager. This company's bothering me. I think really good people that are really good in sales typically don't have that problem, because they're able to read their audience. But yes, it's against our corporate policy.
Oh, very, very, very interesting. Very interesting. So the entry point with Cisco is for minority suppliers is through your group.
It's really with us if there's an opportunity, and I think that's a big, that's a really, really big if. But yeah, absolutely. If you're not registered, or if you're registered in the portal and you haven't talked to us in a while, please feel free to reach out to me. We'd be happy to chat.
Okay, fair enough.
Bryan, we do have another question in the chat if you have time.
Yep.
Okay, it says, is Cisco focused solely on Tier 1 diversity spend, or are they also tracking Tier 2 spend? I know of other major companies in the Triangle area who have facilitated partnerships between non-MBE firms and MBEs, and even MBE to MBE partnerships, increasing diversity spend in the process. It is win-win-win for everyone without the necessity of preferred vendor status.
The answer is yes, but probably not to the level that you've described. We absolutely do collected probably on, I think, around 60 of our top spend suppliers. I know when we started the program that were 20, it was in the low 20s was the number of suppliers that reported their Tier 2 spend. We pushed that up. I had a lot of relationships coming from the category I came from, and we were able to get a lot more of our incumbent preferred suppliers to report their Tier 2 spend to us. So it's probably close to 60. I would tell you, It is not a primary, it is not a huge focus of our program, but it is definitely something that we track. So I guess my answer to you, Tom, is kinda. You know, it's not an area that we try to grow. We're really focused on the tier 1 spend.
It looks like Julie Powers has a question. Julie, do you want to unmute yourself?
Yes, thank you. Bryan, obviously we're already engaged with Cisco as a supplier, and I was just curious, I heard you talking about the sponsorship program earlier. I was just wondering how we would get involved with that program.
We keep it all secret, like in the Marriott, but don't pay no attention behind the curtain, right? It is something that incumbency has almost always been a requirement, so that does help you. I think typically what we do is, you know, the first class we went with spend. The second class, and part of it, we saw that we had too many contingent labor suppliers in the program. So the second class, we did fewer suppliers because it was too many, 25 was too many to sponsor at one time. We went with a smaller group, and we tried to make sure that we were across categories a bit more, so that there were, you know, fewer contingent labor suppliers, but maybe some marketing suppliers that we were trying to focus on and that type of thing. This class in the U.S., we, like I said, we focused on one demographic of supplier, and I would tell you, you know, as somebody, I wish we had more African American and Black-owned businesses to include in the program, though we hit the number that we were targeting at 10. I think it's keeping visible, doing good work, showing your potential. Like you said, we have some dialogue, so you're definitely on our radar. And I think it's hard. I mean, it's a little bit more art than science, and it's also about us being able to find a sponsor that we think can help you. Because we're not doing this just for happy noise. We're doing this because we think there's a substantive opportunity. I'm ecstatic in the India class and this class. We have 3 vice presidents being sponsors. At Cisco, that's a really big deal for us. I think before that we had one person who'd been promoted to vice president during the course of the program, but that everybody else was director. So we're definitely getting more visibility on it, and we're hoping that the momentum and the interest will keep it something that can be that we can take advantage of, that other companies like APC can benefit from in the future.
Okay, thank you, Bryan.
Okay, well, if there aren't any other questions, I'd like to thank you, Bryan, for always showing up and agreeing to share about your wonderful work. This was real talk today, and know that we can always get that from you. And I always learn something every time I listen to you, so thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the time, everybody.
So we are going to go into the next portion of our meeting with some Piedmont Triad ring updates. So our next upcoming meeting will be on August 19th from 9 to 10:30. And I will be hosting that meeting. SAS will be hosting. And so I'm looking forward to that. We have a few updates on our supplier diversity program. And then in September, September 15th from 11:30 to 1 p.m., we'll have the Greensboro Chamber of Commerce and the Scale to Excel program. So they will talk to us. October 21st from 9 to 10:30 a.m., we are still looking for a host. So if you are a corporate partner or an MBE even that would like to host, please reach out to me and I'll work with you to get ready for that. And we always skip our meeting in November. And then in December, we are going to plan an in-person social / fundraiser. We were able to do this the year before COVID, so we are hoping to do it again this year. I do have 2 asks from you all, though. We are looking for an MBE to host. So if you have a big enough facility that you could host like a networking get-together with drinks and food, please reach out to me. We want an MBE to host, so so there can be visibility for that company and also to reduce costs so we can put more towards scholarship and fundraising. And I'm also asking for volunteers to be on the planning committee for the event. So if you would like to help us plan this event, again, let me know. I'm going to schedule a meeting 2 weeks, and we'll get started to kick off the planning for that. Bryan, I do have one question for you. I know several people asked about your slide deck. Could you share that with us or with me? And
I'll
I
have
can
to think. I'll
post
probably
it.
have to check internally if I can.
Okay.
I
Okay.
did take some numbers out of it, so I may or may not be able to.
Okay. Thank you. I would encourage everyone that if you haven't registered for BOC, that you do that soon. BOC is August 2nd and 3rd. Please contribute to the silent auction. Please get your matchmaking information in if you plan on doing that. Now, if there's not anything else, I'm just going to kind of open the floor. And thank you, Daisha, for being on the planning committee. I appreciate it. Just going to open the floor. If companies want to talk a little bit more about what they do, if folks have questions, now is the time.
I'll go ahead and start. I'm working on my shyness. So I'm kidding. I'm pastry chef Maria Kemp, and I think I've introduced myself already, but I wanted to talk specifically about one thing that I think would be interest to MBEs and other corporate partners is the private virtual baking experiences. I am going to be putting those in the digital marketplace for BOC, so corporations or MBEs will be able to purchase the team building class, and then work with you, and we'll set up the date and the content that will work best for your team. So that's one of the main things I'll be putting in there. And also I will have digital gift cards, which work to be great gifts for your team, or if you want to give them out as client gifts as well. So those are services that I offer that even if you don't want the dessert shipped to you, this is on the service side that could be useful to everyone. As I was mentioning to Bryan, team building activities, the U.S. is actually number 2 behind Singapore, and there's been a 2,500% increase since the onset of COVID of companies looking for virtual team building activities worldwide. So it is very hot right now, and I'd love to work with you as I have the recipe for success to bring a dysfunctional team back together. Thank you.
Thank you, Chef Maria. Who else is out there that wants to talk? So Dominique says in the chat that we all need to start thinking about what we want to do for winning the AMP21 auction contest. So in the 4th quarter, Dominique is going to sponsor a lunch or an after hours event for us. So if anyone has any suggestions, please let me know. Hey, Debbie.
Hey, Andrea. Thank you so much, Bryan, for the great presentation. Good conversation in the chat. I always love seeing the live connections being made during our ring meetings. I always say these are like the mini micro matchmaking, right? Peer to peer, corporate to peer, it always works out. But I just wanted to come back on camera and say that we have a phenomenal opportunity for students. full-time students, high school, college, or even at the graduate level. As long as they are full-time students, they can pitch their business idea and concept to us in our next generation pitch competition, which does close on Friday. And we have gotten some great prizes, along with $1,000 cash to the first prize winner. We also have a generous contribution from Lenovo of a ThinkPad, completely decked out with all the software and everything. So it is state of the art for any student. This should be a win-win situation. So Dominique likes to put it one way, and I put it in the newsletter the same way today. We're asking for a 7-minute long pitch on your business concept, right? For 7 minutes, you could be rewarded $1,000 and a new laptop. So that's a pretty good ROI on 7 minutes of time. So I am encouraging each one on this call today to please share it with your student network and your educator network. We are looking to give away these great prizes. And right now, submissions are non-existent, which is kind of sad. So we want to make sure that Jonathan and Lenovo know how much we appreciate their gifts and their donation. So please share the next generation information. I will put that in the chat. Thank you so much, Andrea.
Thanks, Debbie. For all of you out there, the corporations that have interns this summer, this would be a great opportunity to send this information out to your intern group. You never know what students might have a company, that they're working on. Well, if we don't have anything else, I think we can take back 25 minutes and end today. So I will say goodbye to you all, and it was so great to see you. And I will see you again next month.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you all for joining.